I go live. I was going live on a Monday, and then it moved to Tuesdays. Now, for this week only, I'm just going live on Monday. And this is something that I've been wanting to make a video about for a while, because if you are familiar with anything to do with psychology, psychotherapy, it doesn't have to mean that you're a therapist or a psychologist. You might just be interested in those types of topics. Then you would have heard of Carl Jung, spelled Jung. So Carl Jung was a psychotherapist and a psychologist. He was born in Switzerland. He died in 1961. But even though he's kind of, some of his approaches were from like 37, 47, whatever. I do know a lot about him, but there's too much information. The stuff that you can hear about is so relevant for today, and that's with a lot of like some of these like psychologists and psychotherapists and some of these like gurus and motivational speakers. They were well ahead of their time. So I'm going to try and keep this as short as I can, but it's going to be hard because I was listening to one of his speeches the other day. In fact, because I supervise counsellors, we were talking about Carl Jung in our supervision group, and then it just went from there really. And then I spent the whole day listening to some of his best talks and his speeches, and this is sort of what I got out of it. The talk was about your self-esteem and your self-concept, and how your inner world reflects your outer world. So this is a lot to do with appearance and things like that. So I'm just going to take some of the key concepts and just go from there really. So he said that every day you should dedicate intentional time to present yourself in the best way possible. He said you should do this not for vanity, not for because other people, to show off to society or whatever it is, but he said out of self-respect and discipline, because your wardrobe should reflect who you are. Now, some of this stuff that you're going to hear today, you've probably heard from stylists. Hi, Art Lucas. You've probably heard from different people, but this is just, even me as a person, and I've been doing coaching and counselling for a number of years, he made me reframe or rethink this whole concept as well, because a lot of times you do just think, oh, I'm dressing up for society, or if I look a certain way, then people are going to judge me and that sort of thing. And that's exactly what he's saying. So what he says is, what message are you silently sending to the world through your appearance? Hi, Gershwin. And it's just, I think because we get judged a lot, and because we get lots of people saying, oh, I don't care what you look like, and I don't care, why should I wear a suit or whatever it is. And it's interesting because when I've been, Anu, when I've been watching Strictly yesterday, the guy, his name's George, he does YouTube. At first I didn't kind of take to him because he's got a certain personality, which it took me a while to warm up to him, but he normally dresses quite casually, or he dresses in a particular way. Yesterday he was wearing a suit. It was a black suit with a bow tie, and he looked like, and his hair was different, and he looked like a completely different person. And even in the comments I said, yeah, that's a Buddha statue at the back. Even in the comments I was saying on Strictly, the group, I was saying he looks like a completely different person. So I do get this idea that you might not like it, and that people might not like it, but you are judged. Hi, Fox, Abby as well. You are judged on the way that you look and the way that you present yourself. And it's not to do with looks meaning attractiveness. But it says, this is what Carl Jung says, that people form an impression of you in the first 7 seconds. So before you even speak, your image communicates your self-worth. It communicates, are you a confident person? Do you neglect yourself? Hi, Jojo. So let me know what people think as well. But this is the thing. I said this morning. Sometimes I'm looking at people as they walk past my window, because I live on the ground floor. It's a busy area. And even in 2 seconds of staring at someone, you are making judgments. We can't pretend we're not. So if you see someone go past and they're wearing like a really nice, they just look like they're well put together, you're probably going to make lots of assumptions. You might be completely wrong. You might be completely wrong based on like how someone's dressed. But at the end of the day, you can still see that that person has made an effort. Someone else might go past. I saw someone this morning, they were wearing, and it's not funny, like I'm not judging, but it's just a fact. In 3 seconds when they walked past, they were wearing some like grey socks. This is a woman, some grey socks. They were wearing like some tracksuit bottoms, and then they were wearing like a jacket, some sort of jacket. I don't know, but it was like they're in a rush. You don't need donate money, Rannery. No, you don't need to donate money for this live. Are you talking about? I don't know if you're talking about how to donate. No, you may have been talking about when I was doing the 5K a day. That was in October. That's done with now, so you don't have to donate money. But I don't need donations for this live stream because it's yeah. So back to this appearance thing. So all I'm doing is slowly going through Carl Jung, the psychologist and the psychotherapist, and what he talks about when he talks about self-esteem. So he gives this example. Hi, ABC from India, of doing a ritual of the 3 mirrors. So he says, and this is mirror work is not uncommon. If you're familiar with Louise Hay, she's passed away as well, and a few other people. Mirror work is really about you being comfortable with who you are. And he says that there are 3 types of mirrors, ritual of the mirrors he calls it. It's called the physical, is where you examine your outer appearance. So it's when you look into the mirror and all you're looking at is how you look. Now, there are certain people, because I've worked with people over the number of years, who even when I've given them the exercise of spending 3 minutes every day for 7 days looking in the mirror, they find it really hard to do that without criticising themselves. Now, I'm someone who, I'll look in the mirror and I'll get ready for every day. And there's never been a time in my life, and I'm not going to say how old I am, but where I've looked in the mirror and been scrutinised myself and said, oh, you've got a wrinkle there, or oh, this doesn't look right, or this, because I just think, why am I going to be beating myself up? It's my face, it belongs to me, whether I've got makeup on, whether I've got no makeup on, whether I'm a year older, it's still me. You've got to love yourself, is basically what he's trying to say. So you examine your outer appearance, that's the physical part. The emotional part is where you ask yourself, does my external appearance reflect my emotional state? So how do I feel about myself today? Because everything is linked, the physical, the emotional, the spiritual. It's all part of who you are as a person. So what it's saying really is, if you don't feel good on the inside, then you're not going to look good on the outside, because you're not going to make an effort with your appearance, because you're not going to be able to. So this happens a lot with people who are stressed or depressed, or just there's chaos going on in their life, or maybe they're going through a bereavement, maybe they're going through something, and it shows, because obviously they're not who's going to feel like getting up and doing your hair, doing your makeup, dressing up if you're going through something stressful. So he's saying, how do I feel about myself today? That's what you'll ask. That's the emotional. And then the aspirational is where you say, does the way I present myself today bring me closer to the person I wish to become? Or does it pull me away from that image? So a good example of this is, I was thinking the other day how I want to present myself. I'm not leaving the house today. This is a good example, but I'm still dressed up. I'm dressed up because I'm obviously coming online to do these live stream, but I've also got a client later on. That's not even till 3 o'clock. I've also, just for my personal well-being, I get dressed up every single day. I mean, it's bad because I'll go through a lot of makeup. go through a lot of hair products, go through a lot of all sorts of things, but that's because regardless, I'm doing that for me. I'm not doing it, and you do feel good when you look good. Or where you make an effort to look good. It's the fact there's loads of theories about it. So what he's saying is, if you want to become a certain type of person, if you want people to look at you as someone that takes care of yourself, someone that is, makes the effort, then you do need to invest. Even I've been saying that to myself. I've been saying I would rather invest in a good coat, a good handbag, a good pair of shoes, and even if those are the 3 items that you invest in, and dress as a woman, and makeup. This is just my personal thing. It's just, you're not doing it for other people, you're doing it for yourself. It does make a difference. It makes a difference about how you walk. It makes a difference about how confident you are when you step out into the world. It makes a difference, definitely, about how people receive you as well. I've noticed the difference. So he said your appearance is not aesthetic. It's not about looking good for the sake of it. It says it's symbolic. Because it's as back to what he's saying, it's a message that you're sending to the world. So if you decided as a person that the one area of your life you dedicate would be towards looking your best, and it's not about designer outfits, and it's not about, it's making sure you know, when you're walking around that you know, your shoes are not scuffed, things like that, little things, that your clothes are ironed, you know, that you are wearing things that like kind of, you're not squeezed. It's and because people think this is a judgment thing, that's why people sometimes say, oh, I'm not interested in going through my wardrobe, and I'm not interested in ironing my shirt, or who cares? People will say things like that, and it's up to you. So it's not saying you have to change how you think. It's saying the fact of the matter is, when you're saying that sort of thing, why should I? There was a lady years ago on my fake YouTube who used to say people are stupid and ridiculous if they ironed their clothes. She said, why waste time ironing your clothes? It's pathetic. It's ridiculous. What's the point? And I kind of like was not rolling my eyes, but I was kind of thinking, do people think like that? But she did. And like when I said to her, I iron my clothes not only in advance, but sometimes I'll take them out the wardrobe after I've ironed them once, and I'll iron them again if they're creased. I can't personally imagine walking on the street without ironing my clothes. But the point of it is, for her, it was like a hassle. But there was other things going on for her, and she was quite stressed. She was moving house and this sort of thing. So it is about not the aesthetic side of it; it's the symbolic. What are you trying? What message are you sending? So the next thing he says is, when you change how you appear, you change how the world perceives you and how you perceive yourself. I think I'll have someone's put, oh, Kevin, you put, you think you're stressed. I think you said, or chest tightness. Because if you change how, when you're working on your appearance, and it starts from like whether it's skincare, whether it's just taking a bit extra time. So he talks about taking an extra 15 minutes to your morning routine. I mean, I'm terrible. I'm not going to lie to people. It takes me a good hour and a half to get ready normally. I can narrow it down to an hour. Sometimes it's taken me, if I'm properly going out for like at Christmas, if I'm going like to an event, or if I'm getting ready on my birthday, you're talking 2-3 hours it could take me, and that's like hair, makeup, getting ready, everything. Oh, thanks Ella. So I'm not doing it because, oh, I'm going out there and I'm showing off because of this reason, or I'm not doing it so that everyone else looks at me. I personally, if I get a compliment, then that's fine, that's a bonus, but I don't go out expecting compliments, and I don't really look at that as being, if someone doesn't say that I look good, what's going on? I'm talking about Carl Jung, self-esteem and self-concept, and it's all to do with appearance. So that's what we're talking about. So yeah, it's back to this thing of you're doing it for yourself because you feel good. If you change how you appear, he says, you change how the world perceives you, but you also change how you perceive yourself, because you say to yourself, you know, I'm going to make the effort because I'm going to feel good today, and I'm going to do that because I look good today. And as it says, it's like called an upward spiral. This is what he talks about. When you care for yourself, you feel better. When you feel better, you act better. And when you act better, you achieve better results. And it's also the opposite angle. When you don't care for yourself, you don't feel good. And then when you don't feel good, you can't get any results. You can't really do much. And then it kind of goes down and down and down. So it says, I can't see some of these messages. Okay, so let's just, one moment. So yeah, so it's the same if you neglect yourself, and it starts with the outward stuff, but also it's the inner world. So let's go to a few other things he says. So I've already talked about this, people form an impression in 7 seconds. You know when they say, when people go on a date and that person says straight from the minute they sat down, they knew that this person, they were going to marry the person, or they knew this person was the right one for them. And that happens within 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 7 seconds. As I've just mentioned earlier, you can see someone walk past your window, you can see someone in the street, you can literally glance at a person in 2 seconds, and you're not always going to be correct, because personally you're not going to know what's going on for that person. Maybe they're in a rush, they have to go to school to pick up their child, so that's why they're wearing their pajamas. Maybe they just, you know, are not struggling or whatever. So it's not about that. This isn't about judgment. This is just about facts from Carl Jung as a psychotherapist, saying that those people will still be judged regardless of what the situation is, because we judge everyone. We judge based on that fact, even before someone speaks, when you walk into, that's why when you walk into an interview, or you walk into a meeting, or you walk into an important situation, before you've even opened your mouth, people are still looking at what you're wearing. They're still looking at how you've presented yourself for this interview. Are you walking with confidence? Are you walking with your head down? That's what's happening. You know, you could actually be given a job sometimes based on like your confidence before you've even said what. If there's two candidates and one person is, you know, might have everything on their CV, might have everything, all the skills, but then but they've not lacked confidence, and also they've not presented themselves in a certain way. The other person could get the job as well. So he's saying, the next thing he says is, when the inner and outer you align, then you no longer live by habit, you live by purpose. So it's called psychological resonance. And that means the inner part of you is reflecting the outer. And all that really means is that if you feel good, and if you are, you know, confident, and you have self-love, and everything is going well for you in your life internally, that is going to transfer externally. Because why wouldn't it? You know, if things are going well for you, you're not going to need to, you're not going to be walking around with your head down. You're not going to be walking around wearing clothes that are just, you know, not good. I don't know what other words to use. So that's what he's trying to say. You need to get in alignment. Alignment isn't just about doing the internal work. It's also about doing the external, and that is down to appearance. He says, if your reflection no longer inspires you, it could be that you're neglecting yourself. So start to dress with intention. This is like people. You know, psychologists and counsellors and myself and everyone else will give you lots of tips, coaches as well, about this, that and the other. But these are simple things that you can do that will lift not only your mood, lift your spirit, but also can change you. They can transform you, and that is dressing with intention. There was an exercise on YouTube where you go through your wardrobe and you take every item of clothing out of your wardrobe and you try everything on. I've done this exercise myself because I saw it, and the lady on YouTube was talking about it. They said that when you put the item of clothing on, if you don't feel love for that outfit, or if you don't feel you look good in it, then don't wear it. Either put it at the back of your wardrobe or give it away. And I did this exercise. I mean, I didn't give loads of things away. I always give things away to charity every year anyway. Every year I get a bag of clothes together and drop it at the charity shop. But the point it's trying to make really is, if you're not inspired by the clothes that you wear, why are you wearing the clothes? Because that's going to transfer to other things. It's saying that to get excellence in one area, if you excel in one area, he says, then it flows to other areas. So it's the same as with what you're wearing. So if you're not inspired, if you're wearing clothes that you've had for 10 years and they don't look good on you anymore in terms of what you think, not what anyone else thinks. If you don't think that outfit looks good on you, you know, when sometimes people put stuff on and they say, oh, I don't really want to wear this, or oh, these trousers are too tight, or oh, this suit is old, or oh, this colour doesn't suit me, but they still go ahead and wear it. And what he's trying to say is, why are you doing that? If you don't feel good in it from the beginning, then it's not going to lead to you, you know, you're not going to feel inspired, you're not going to feel passionate, you're not going to do your best work in something which is not, you know, reflecting who you are. So then he gave an example which was really nice. Hi, Rakan, I'm good, thanks. Thanks for asking. So he talked about this woman. The woman was in her 50s. This was an example in the speech. So this speech was just going on and on and on and on. I stopped working and I was just listening, because it was just, you know, when something is really powerful but it just hits. It just hit me. So he said this woman was in her 50s. And she was saying, I feel invisible. When I'm walking down the street, no one looks at me anymore, or I just feel like I'm lost in society. And this is how lots of people as they get older feel. And social media doesn't also help. Someone's put, how about I've got nothing to wear, 3 rooms full of clothes, women. Well, this is the thing. This is because people don't go through their wardrobe. And what they do, so let's focus on this actually, because this is a really good point. What happens is, people will look on social media and they will look at what society says you should wear. Oh, this is the new fashion, this is the latest thing. So they'll go out and they'll buy 10 outfits because this is the new colour, this is the new fashion, this is what women should wear. They don't like any of that stuff, but they're just doing it because they don't want to be viewed as being out of fashion. So they'll buy 10 items, then they won't wear them. Then the next week someone else will say, oh, well, florals are out of fashion now, so you have to buy this print or this thing. Then they'll go and buy them. So then what will happen is they'll have a wardrobe full of clothes that they only bought because someone told them that that looks good, and they didn't really like any of that stuff. And then they won't go through the rest of their wardrobe and actually select the things they actually like. So then you have a wardrobe full of stuff that you never wear, that you don't like. And that's why, like, people say, I've got nothing to wear, because they don't really like any of the stuff in their wardrobe. So the key to that really is back to what Carl Jung was saying, which is to only buy things or only wear things that reflect how you're feeling. Only buy things. I've had this this dress. You can't really see it properly. It's got like, yeah, I liked the style of it. I bought this in 2018. This is old. Now this is a black and white dress. It's a good fit because it's like bodycon type fit. I've got a cardigan with it. I love it. I love this dress. Do you know what I mean? No one told me. I don't care if what colours are in fashion, or I go with what suits me or what I feel good in. So that's why it's still in my wardrobe. Then there'll be other things where I'll say, do you know what? This shirt or this top, no longer, I don't really like it anymore. So I'll choose. So it's back to what you've said. In order to like avoid having a wardrobe full of clothes that you don't, yeah, someone says people are full of sheeple. Do you know what it is? It's because it's subtle, isn't it? It's like saying men should only do this or women should only do this. We are influenced by society, but we don't have to just go with what other people are telling us. So back to this example that Carl Jung was giving of the woman feeling invisible. So she said, I feel invisible, no one really looks at me, no one really cares about me anymore. And social media can also make people feel like that. Oh, if you're over 30, then, you know, you've had it as a woman, or if you're this and that. And you can feel like that, but what Carl Jung said is feeling invisible is not a matter of age, it's a matter of presence. Presence begins with how you show yourself to the world. Because when you're walking down the street, or when you're just in situations, when you're interacting with other people, that could be when you're on your own, going on a solo date, or whatever they call it. It could be when you're on holiday, when you're with family, when you're with strangers. However you show up in the world, and your presence has got nothing to do with age. It's to do with you as a person. Because you can be in a room full of people and you can just see someone walking into that room, and all of a sudden everyone stops and turns at that person. There's something about their confidence, or it could just be looking at someone wearing a certain pair of heels, or it could be a guy in a suit. As I said, for me, a man in a suit, when it's not to do with the cost of the suit and anything else, it's just to do with if a man is wearing a suit that fits them and they just look good. I don't think men can look bad in suits unless it's badly fitted and really cheap from, like, you know, very Shein or whatever. It's that thing, isn't it, of saying like you will be. It's not to do with being noticed. It's to do with you showing the world that this is who I am. I've arrived. I'm here. This is my presence. You know, I've taken my time to get dressed tonight. I've taken my time to look good. I've taken my time to smell good. I've taken my time to you know, do my hair, to do my makeup, to just, you care about yourself. That is what you're telling the world. You're not someone who is like, I can't be bothered, or as they say, CBA, you know, can't be, you know what it means. Or, you know, so that is what it's saying. So anyway, back to this. Let's just look at a few more things on this, because I'm going to tie this live stream up soon. So as I've said already, your outer appearance mirrors your inner world. And if you can't master yourself in the mirror, if you can't look in the mirror and you can't be confident with who you are, then it says you won't be able to master other areas of your life, because your outer world expresses your inner chaos or your harmony. So looking voluptuous and healthy, is there something you can tell me, counsellor? Is there something you can tell me? Oh, you said you're glowing. I'm glowing. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Do you know what? It's not... There's no tricks, there's no like magic tricks or anything like that, okay? It's just about loving yourself enough, caring about yourself enough to make the effort to try. So for me, People are saying I'm glowing. Yeah, I've got like that highlighter type thing. I don't wear like tons of makeup. I don't shovel it on, but at the same time, I wear things that I will take the effort to take care of my skin. And, you know, and I will go to, let me just, there's people putting things about Buddha and stuff like that. I don't even know what that is. People, for some reason, people keep mentioning this Buddha statue that I've got at the back of me. They love it. They're obsessed with it. So, as we've said, it's not superficial. Presenting yourselves in with your appearance is not superficial. It's symbolic. It's a reflection of what's going on for you emotionally. So we've already said that. So the next thing that he talked about is that your appearance is not a mask. It's a mirror. It doesn't hide who you are, it reveals who you are. And I thought that was really powerful, because sometimes people will say, why should I put on makeup? And you don't have to, you know, or why should I make an effort with what I'm wearing? It doesn't matter, I can just wear anything and that sort of thing. And you can, and this is not saying to people you have to get up every day, dress up every day, buy like fancy clothes and that sort of thing. But what he's saying is, it's not a mask when you are making an effort with your appearance. It's revealing who you are. It's not hiding who you are. So you don't have to see it as that. You don't have to. I think, you know, there's so much judgment anyway. You're going to be judged either way. As a woman and a man, you are going to be judged in society. You're going to be judged for what you wear. You're going to be judged if you wear too much makeup, if you wear not enough makeup. You're going to be judged if you have a certain type of hair, not enough hair. Someone said, yeah, and this is something that people always say to people. You don't need makeup. Makeup isn't a need. Do you know what I mean? It's not an item. Of course you don't need it. You know, if your house was burning down and you had to run out and grab the things that you need, you wouldn't go and grab your makeup bag. It's not an essential item. But at the same time, if someone wants to wear makeup, because that's how I see it, then they can. If they don't want it, then they don't. It's not to do with being pretty. I don't see makeup as being hiding, and which is what he's trying to say. I see it as enhancing, and I've always worn makeup. Well, there's been times where, to be honest, on holiday, I haven't really, just a bit of lip gloss and that's it. But yeah, it's not to do with I'm making myself up to be pretty. It's to do with I'm enhancing my natural self because I want to, or I'm choosing to. But it's not an essential item. I get it, yeah, you know, and that's true. So there's two more things I want to talk about on here. Well, three more things that Carl Jung says. And one is doing a self-observation, and I've made a separate video about this, which is a 5-minute mirror audit, where you look in the mirror and you ask yourself, does my current appearance reflect who I truly wish to become? What 3 things can I do to improve immediately? And what self-care habit have I been avoiding? So this is all again around being your best self through your appearance. So the next thing he says is take an extra 15 minutes to your morning routine and pay attention to your image. 15 minutes isn't a lot of time, so he says you can do this either by just your skincare routine. You know, for me, I don't get how people go to bed wearing makeup, and I know that people do, but the idea of going to bed, even when I've been out in the past where I've got back in. Oh, thank you, Gail. I've got back in from clubs back in the day when it was 1, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning even. There's never been a time in my life where I have not took all my makeup off. So it's things like that. He says, you know, you should be, the extra 15 minutes, whether that's in the morning or at night, should be to do with your appearance. Whether you have to get up earlier so that you have to spend more time on your hair, get up earlier so you have to iron your clothes, spend more time, you know, with your face routine, whatever it is, he said you should do that. And then the final thing is around this idea of an upward spiral and a downward spiral. And this definitely links with the work that I do as a counsellor. So he says, when you care for yourself, you feel better. When you feel better, you act better. And when you act better, you achieve better results. But the opposite is the same as well, because if you don't feel good, then you know, it goes down, and that's to do with neglect. So even if you take that one thing away from yourself, if you was to say, everyone watching, thanks Peter for joining and everyone else, if you were to say to yourself that you're going to spend the next 7 days going through your wardrobe and taking out everything that does not reflect who you are. I did this exercise myself the other day because I listened to the speech and I looked through my wardrobe. I'm not going to get rid of everything because I still keep things. I've got my new wardrobe coming for winter. I've been buying a few things, but there were a few like blouses in there, a few outfits where I thought, this was back then, I used to wear this stuff. I'm not going to probably wear that again. That doesn't reflect where I am in my life at the moment. That doesn't reflect who I am. That doesn't reflect what I want to represent. I mean, it got to the point where I even thought the other day, I was saying, you know, I keep having these images in my head of how I want to like dress and how I want to be, and I see myself walking down the street wearing certain things, and it's just, all it is really is you saying to yourself, you've come a particular journey in your life, where you are in your life. Does your outer outfits reflect the person you are? Because you can do the self-development work. You can become the type of person you want to be. But if you're still dressing the same way and you're still not, you're lacking in confidence because of it, then wouldn't it be worth investing not just time, but also energy in working on that side, your outer appearance? And it does make a difference. Anyone that says it doesn't make a difference of how you are received in the world, it does, because you see how people respond to people when they are dressed in a certain way. It's just, and also when they're confident. It's just, that's a fact. We're never gonna change that. But you're not doing it for that. You're not saying I'm going out there and I'm gonna wear a really nice jacket because then I'm gonna get everyone giving me attention. It's not about that. Or I'm gonna, you know, wear this hairstyle because I'll get this received well. It's not that. But what you're saying is that for yourself, your self-love, for your self-worth, for your self-esteem, and for everything else, you're just going to make those few like bits of effort, adding 15 minutes to your morning routine, recognizing that it's not aesthetic, it's not about the aesthetic side, it's about the symbolic. You want to show the world that who you are, and you're showing that fruit that you care about yourself enough to make an effort. So I hope you found this video useful. I really appreciate everyone that has joined on this live stream. It's been really nice seeing you all on here, and appreciate all of the comments as well. So enjoy the rest of your week and enjoy December. This is chapter 12 of 12. I'll probably be making a few videos that are more related to Christmas, but Christmas stress. You know, anything to do with, obviously it's a counselling channel, but I will be talking about some issues coming up there. So thank you for joining, and I'm going to end the live stream now. Take care. Anyone on the replay, feel free to leave your comments. Bye.